Hello there, this is David from David Books and Comics, and today I'm going to do a presentation on the Phantom, and particularly the art of Don Newton. I'm also going to go through the work that he did for DC Comics in the pages of Detective Comics, and the art he did for Batman. So I hope you enjoyed this video. First I'm going to present the books. Not all the covers on the DC books are Don Newton, but those beautiful, gorgeous painted covers in the Charlton books are all Don Newton. So I'm going to go through the series, then it's basically the end of the Phantom run in the Charlton comics. Starting with the first work of Don Newton in number 67. Beautiful cover art, painted cover, and one of the best painted covers of the Phantom that I've ever come across. And I'll show you the rest of the series. So they start in issue 67, and the Charlton run ends with issue number 74. So that's 67 and 68. So this is issue 69. This is not Don Newton, even though different sources, even the online sources and apps indicate that it's Don Newton. The interior and the external art is definitely not the work of Don Newton. That's not his style. And so that's 70 I don't have. 71 I don't have. This is issue number 73. 71 and 72 are Don Newton art. So this is issue number 73. And this is another, probably one of the best covers for the Phantom. And it's the last one in the series, number 74 of Charlton. And I'll go through the books in the Detective series, Detective Comics, DC's Detective Comics. So the interior art for here is Don Newton, and it does look, there's some artwork. This looks like the work of Don Newton on the cover. This one is not, but the interior art, it is Don Newton. And I'll go through the pages so you'll see some of the Don Newton artwork. And here we have the famous Detective number 485, the death of the Bronze Age and the Silver Age Batwoman, which you'll see when I flip through the pages. This is Don Newton, 493, 496, this is 499, and the external art, that's Frank Robbins, I think, who did this cover. And this one is signed. So I'm not sure who the artist is here. And for issue 500, there was no Don Newton artwork, which is kind of disappointing. But there's some great artists in the series, in this big, thick tome for issue number 500 of Detective Comics. And this is 501. That has Don Newton artwork. All right, so I'll change the perspective, and we'll go through some of the books. Well, yeah, we'll go through some of the books so you can see and appreciate some of Don Newton's artwork. Okay, thanks. We'll see you in a minute. All right, so we're going through our deep dive. So this is issue number 67, published in October of 1975 by Charlton. And right away you can see the incredible work. It's a story by Joe Gill, art Don Newton, Triumph of Evil. And you can see by the artwork that we have some just gorgeous artwork. Even in the still, here's the origin of the Phantom, retold appropriately since Don Newton is starting the artwork on the series. Just panel by panel, it's just wonderful, wonderful scenes. Nice use of coloring, chiaroscuro type artwork, shading, inking, even the action scenes. There's part 2, Death of a Legend. Shot in the back. There's some nice scenes. The Phantom lives. This is a great origin story. You can see one goes and the other lives. And that's the story of the Phantom. The Ghost Who Walks, Who Never Dies. It's a great first issue. So that's number 67. Number 68 also features some great Don Newton arts, the second. And it's The Beast of Madame Khan. The writer here is Nicola Cutie. She is one of the well-known current writers. I believe she's still writing for, I think, DC and or Marvel. Just adds a lot of depth to the story with the wonderful artwork. Wonderful action scene splash page. There you go. Nice use of paneling. Development of characterization through the art. All in a full-length story, plus some artwork from the previous books. All right, so that's that one. Number 68. There's 69. This is a wonderful cover. Painted cover, signed by Don Newton. Interior artwork. It looks like it's good art, but it doesn't look like Newton's work. Let's see, it doesn't say. This could be a reprint. Some of you may know this looks and has the look of a reprint. The art is really good, though. It's a traditional use of panels. The Shining City. It looks like ancient Rome or something. All right. So there you go. So it ends. The Immortal Ghost of Bengali. With a short Phantom story here. Beautiful cover by Don Newton, one of the best. Interior art is not, it's unsigned. I'm going to show you number 73, or 72, sorry. This is not Don Newton, both in the exterior and interior art. The art is competent. These are the panels I'm going to show you, but it looks like a reprint from the newspaper strip. All right, so that's number 72. So all of the online sources that say this is Don Newton haven't read the book. This is issue number 73, beautiful cover art by Don Newton. Interior art is Don Newton, as you can readily see. Nice use of panel continuity. Nice use of panel continuity. He knows how to sequentially tell a story through the artwork. Interesting. Characterization. Great story. Mood. Chiaroscuro. Just wonderful artwork. Just enhances a good story. Interesting splash page. And let's see. Gray McBride. And another Phantom story. All right, so that's that one. That's issue number 73, and this is the final issue. It's one of the most beautiful covers I've come across. This is Phantom number 74, and we can look at the publication date. This is from January 1977. And the origin, retold. Interior art is Don Newton. Who wrote the story? Let's see if it says. Story and art by Don Newton. Wonderful characterization, just brilliant stuff. So Don Newton was born in 1934 and died at the young age of 49 in 1984, leaving a legacy of work, especially in the artwork he did for Charlton. I would argue Charlton, we can look through the DC books so you can see the contrast. I would argue that the Charlton work is probably his best. Now, I don't have all of the Batman detectives from the period when he drew Batman, but the ones I do, in contrast to the Charlton work, are they don't quite measure up. Benjamin Franklin. Philadelphia. Days later, Philadelphia by amber candlelight. A solitary figure works deep into the night. Sounds almost like poetry. Just wonderful stuff. All right. And Phantom Mail. Look at that. There you go. So that's issue number 74. Now we'll look through his work on Detective. This is number 480, and you can see the interior art. The penciler is a guest penciler, apparently, Don Newton. The inker is David Hunt. But you can see here the very clean style that he has compared to the dark inking style that he did with Charlton. You see some of it here. Nice, interesting use of paneling. And yeah, his style here is a lot cleaner, I would say. There's no other way I can describe it because I'm not an artist. It seems a lot cleaner, a lot more finished compared to the Charlton stuff. However, sometimes giving an artist more freedom in the way he works or she works enhances, I think, the ability of the artist to be more creative. Excellent, excellent, excellent artwork. And we're bonused with a Hawkman story. This one is done by Murphy Anderson, one of my favorite Hawkman artists, featuring an older villain, Pied Piper. I believe he's a Flash villain. Anyway, so that's Murphy Anderson. And I think the inking, and it looks to be the inking of Don Newton. I may be wrong, though. All right, so that's that. That's issue number 480. And this is the death of the Silver Age Batwoman. Takes place here. Its artwork is by Don Newton, with his probably, I would argue, his best inker, Dan Adkins. There's Don Newton's version of Ra's al Ghul, one of the arch villains of the piece. And who makes an appearance here? Oh yes, this is it. This is the Silver Age Batwoman. And this is where she gets stabbed to death. Kathy Kane. She died clutching her costume, the clothes she once wore as Batwoman. She gets killed by the League of Assassins. All right, and there you see Don Newton in his creative best. This is all focused on action, so whoever did the editing did a fairly good job in helping keep the focus. All right, so that's Don Newton in Detective number 485. And then we have number 496. This artwork looks to be the work of Frank Robbins. Yeah, I think it's signed. Yeah, FR is Frank Robbins. So Don Newton, Dan Adkins. And this was, let me just look. Number 496, November 1980. So that was after he left Charlton. Characterization. Kind of a noirish look here. Just wonderful. Newton's just brilliant in the way he does the work. I'm going to move these over here. And we have a Hawkman ad for Twinkies. And they're just wonderful. All right. And we have a Batgirl story. This one is by Jose Delbo. All right, so that's Batman in Detective Comics. And this is another Frank Robbins cover. This is number 499. Art, Don Newton and Dan Adkins. I just love the way he develops the panels and develops the characterization, puts the emphasis with his own inking. With the inking of Dan Adkins. Dan Adkins is one of the best inkers in the business. His inking jobs in Iron Fist series and in the Batman is some of his best. And there's Batman in his milieu. Yes, wonderful stuff. Right? And that's a Batgirl story. All right, so that's that one. And that's Detective number 499, number 500. We'll skip. And this is, oops, I went ahead a little bit. This is number 493, The Swashbuckler. This was from, August 1980. This is one of the better stories. Just lively story featuring the villain, the Riddler. Who wrote this? I always like the Riddler stories. They're always fun reads. Gary Burkett is the guest writer. The Vigilante. Nice. Very nice. Interesting use of paneling. And all right. So there you go. That's the Human Target in a guest story. And this is issue number 487. This is an earlier issue. Still fighting the League of Assassins, yeah. After they had killed the writer is Denny O'Neil, the artist Don Newton and Dan Adkins. And you can see Newton's style. Just wonderful stuff. All right. Again, the characters are really well delineated in Don Newton's work. Just wonderful. All right, so that's that story. And this is a reprint. All right, so that's that one. That's 487. And we'll move those aside. And I think we'll go through the last. This is 501. And then you have Lucius Fox and Alfred the butler, who killed Mademoiselle Marie. This is Jerry Conway wrote it. Again, Don Newton, Dan Adkins write artists. This is from April 1981. This looks like flashback panels. a Wonder Woman ad. Okay, so there you go. And it's always a good Batman story always has a mystery to it. Just love the use of the dark inking to add mood to the scenes. All right, so this is that issue, The Man Who Killed Mademoiselle Marie. And here we have a Batgirl story, The Five-Fold Revenge of Dr. Voodoo. Nice. All right, so that's Detective number 501, and that's the last bit of Don Newton work that I'll show you. Because 3 years later he would have died. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation on the work of Don Newton, especially his work on the Phantom for Charlton Comics, which I consider to be a superior work that he did in for the Phantom, for superior work that he did art-wise compared to the work that he did for Detective. So I hope you enjoyed this, and remember the like. Thanks everyone for your subscriptions, and comments are always welcome. They do help the channel. Okay, thanks. Bye.